object-oriented programming. I'm going to take you from I know nothing to absolutely crushing in just 5 minutes. Let's get started. Now, I highly recommend that you code along with me for this, so our first step is going to be to open our code editor of choice. I like to use Thonny. Great. Now we're in Thonny, we can get started learning about classes and objects. So Python is an object-oriented language, which basically means that almost everything you'll encounter in Python is an object of some kind. Now, let's say that we were building a little game with a snooker table and a bunch of balls on that snooker table. We could have a class called ball, like so, and then we could give it properties like color. So we could say the color of every ball will be blue, like that. Each object will also have its own methods, and we will actually define all of these properties and methods of our objects inside their class, like this. So let's show you this in practice. It'll probably help demystify it a bit. Let's say we wanted to start a new class. We wanted to define a new class from which we can make objects. A class is basically like a blueprint, so when we define the rules of a given class, whenever we make a new object, we can use that class to make the new object. So it's kind of like a set of instructions for assembling some furniture. If you follow the same instructions and you're given the same stuff, you'll get the same thing every single time. So, to define a class, we start with the keyword class, like so, assuming you spell it properly, and we can make a class called myClass, like this. Put your apostrophe in, put your colon in, and here we can put our properties. So we could say x equals 5. So now x is a property or an attribute of my class, like this. So the name of my class is myClass, very convenient, and there is one singular property called x, and that x is a variable and it equals 5. Now, what we can actually do now is use this class that we've just created to create a new object. So, the way we would create an object with this is we just do this. It's that simple. Except we need to store this somewhere. So, let's store it inside a variable called p1. This is just globally, this is just normal. This has nothing to do with the class at the moment. p1 is just a variable, like any other. Like if I went cheese equals, and then this string called cheese. So this is a variable, and inside we are going to make a new object with the myClass class. Now you'll notice that if you hit run, nothing happens. We've not told it to print anything yet. But what we can actually do is we can retrieve that x value from this object, because each and every single object that's created with this myClass class will have this property. I'll show you this in practice. We can run print and then the name of our object variable, so p1, and then dot x. So here x is our property that we're accessing of the object that's in p1, and it shows us 5 because p1.x, the property called x inside of this object p1, which is of this class, is 5. So if we were to make this property instead equal 6, then there you go. If I show you this in practice with the debugger, oops, we need to save this first. Let's give this a very appropriate file name. Perfect. If we show you this in action with our debugger here, so it goes into here and it goes, okay, what does this property equal? It equals 6. Okay, let's establish it as 6. And now what we can do is we can take our object and make it like that. And then it goes, okay, p1. What does p1 mean? What's this variable? What does this variable equal? And it goes, okay, p1 is that object that we've just made. And it's got a little property that is called x, and it equals 6. And then it passes that to print. Print obviously returns nothing. And there you go.